What's going on, everyone? Is the Derf, and in today's video I've got an excellent build for you that showcases how you can spam your super. This build is going to feature 30-second supers. Matter of fact, in this gameplay that you're seeing right here, I threw my super 15 times during this battleground activity, and you can too. So if you've been looking for a way to spam your super, print orbs of power, regenerate your super, and basically have infinite devour and bonus weapon damage, this is definitely the build for you. This features a couple of fan favorite exotics that I haven't talked about for I think a couple of seasons that I'm really excited to bring back. This build absolutely wrecks. It is extremely fun and potent. So let's get it started. To get us started on our super spam, throw my super anywhere all the time without a care in the world build, our super of choice is going to be Nova Bomb, Cataclysm, hurl an explosive bolt of void light at a target, disintegrating those caught within its blast. Nova Bomb travels slowly and seeks targets. Detonations shatter into smaller seeker projectiles. Even though this is an insta-burst super, even though it's not a roaming super, you should expect to get this every 30 seconds in a busy activity. Even in other activities like what you saw in the intro video, and you're getting so much super energy from virtually everything you're doing. You will be able to basically, anytime you want to call out your super, not only will you have it, but you're not going to be worried about where it's going to come from again. So you can throw it. For abilities, we're going to go with the Healing Rift, Burst Glide. Of course, we only got Pocket Singularity. And I prefer rolling with the Axion Bolt Grenade, similar to a Controverse build. I do like the Axion Bolt for this because it's more of a controlled detonation, and what you see is what you get. It makes it easier to predict kind of what kind of energy you're going to get back for your super. And given how used to most people are with the Axion Bolt at this point in the season, I think it makes the most sense. But you, I guess, can use whatever you want. The Axion Bolt honestly just makes the most sense to me. For aspect, first up is going to be Chaos Accelerant. Overcharge a grenade, making it deadlier and more effective. For the Axion Bolt, it detonates twice and has enhanced seekers. No, it's not going to be as amazing as Controverse. However, it's still going to be basically almost as good. The only thing that we're not going to get is the regen for the grenade on hits. But as you're going to play around with this build, when you take it into your first activity, wondering if it's going to hold up, you're going to see that you're not quite hurting for the grenade energy as much as you thought you were. Not only that, but you have a second grenade charge all the way at the bottom. Grants an additional grenade charge. Next up is Feed the Void. Defeat a target with the Void ability to activate Devour. Your Devour effects are improved, restoring additional health and grenade energy. Anything that you do that kills a target keeps Devour going once you have it procced. So that's going to give you your health, and it's going to give you additional grenade energy back. Again, you're still going to get regen just based on Devour. It's just not going to be as much as if you were running Controverse. But I'm telling you, once you get used to it, I mean, yeah, you're going to notice a little bit of difference, but it's not going to be as drastic as what you were thinking it might be. For Fragments, first up is Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Void Breach or an Overpower grants Devour. I don't care about my class regen rate in this build, so the more Devour I can get with more opportunities to give myself additional Devour is a win for everyone and everything that uses this build. Next up is going to be Echo of Remnants. Your lingering grenade effects, Vortex Grenade, Void Wall, Void Spike, and Axion Bolt have increased duration. Again, kind of similar to past builds that we've talked about, but Echo of Remnants still is important for this build. Next up is going to be Echo of Undermining. Your Void Grenades weaken targets. This one it's optional, I guess, technically, but I don't really think it's optional. You do need the weaken for the grenade because it does help the overall potency of it. But I guess you could take this off and put something else on. Controverse gives you automatic weaken. You don't get that without it, so you need to make sure you have a fragment that gives you the weaken for your void grenades. Last but not least, Echo of Harvest. Defeating weakened targets creates an orb of power and a void breach. You'll have void breaches and orbs of power all over the place. You saw the scorecard. Yes, I know I was kind of on my own in that activity, but there was no shortage of orbs of power that I was able to generate, and quite honestly, it's what carried the entire activity for those that were in my fire team with me. For stat distribution, I recommend speccing into grenade, super, and weapons. You want to put your weapons in super at least at a 100. Again, the super spam is totally up to you, but remember, your super regen is based on the damage that you deal. It's also on the energy return for using our exotic armor. So it's not imperative that you bump your super all the way up to 200, although quite honestly, that'd be pretty cool. What you still want to do is you want to pair this with your grenade, which you can throw obviously more often than your super, and you get the bonus damage from your grenade, which in my opinion, the curve for the amount of damage you get for the grenade when you overcharge it for, 150 and above, for example, in my opinion, is better than the bonus you get from the super if you had your super at 150 or above. It's not to say that it's worthless. You guys can play around with it and let me know in the comments what you like. But because this is a super spam, it's not necessarily spam the most powerful super. If we were going to make a build that was, okay, this is the most powerful super build, period. Every time you throw your super, you're getting max everything. Then yes, you would. But the key here is generating your super as fast as possible. The easiest way to do that is using your abilities and then using your weapons to keep Devour going, because that, of course, pairs with our exotic armor, which we're going to talk about here in a second. For weapons, there are two weapons that will work with this build. One of them is going to work a lot better than the other for obvious reasons. The one that you saw in the opening video is going to be Bad Juju. I made a build video with this weapon. Man, I don't even know it. It's got to be at least 2 seasons ago. It's hard to say. I don't exactly remember. Someone can fact check me on that. Someone who's been a fan of the channel for a while, hopefully. And by the way, thank you for being a fan for that long. But in all seriousness, Bad Juju was at one time one of the primary weapons that I just kind of gravitated to once I started getting into things like super spam and those things. And Bad Juju, now that it's featured, you get a little bit of extra bonus with it. It wasn't featured last season, which was kind of, pointless because all exotics should be. But Bad Juju, the key here is String of Curses. Kills refill the magazine, increase damage for a short duration, and grants super energy based on the strength of String of Curses. Fires full auto. Obviously, I don't care about full auto because no one's cared about full auto since, I don't know how long ago, a long time ago. But the key here that I want to focus on is it grants super energy based on the strength of String of Curses. Now, if you don't understand how significant this is just by itself, head into the shooting range, put on the weakest enemies you can find, and just watch your super bar as you just shoot all the enemies that form up in a line. You're going to see once you get to X5, it's very significant. And when you pair that with what you get back from your Nova Bomb hits and kills, and you pair that from your Ashes to Assets, which we're going to talk about, you suddenly see the reality set in, which, no, I probably wouldn't run this in a minus 50 GM. But everything else, I think it might be fair game. Because if you can really proc your super every 30 seconds in a busy activity, quite honestly, even sooner, I mean, what's not to like? If you got enough enemies, you can absolutely get enough string of curses put together. I think back to the Court of Blades. I was doing it in that, I think, at one point. I think to man, I can't remember, but it was it was different. It was the different onslaught activities back. Was that Season of the Brave? I think someone can let me know, but that's where I was testing all this out. So I mean, that was a minute ago. But String of Curses plus Devour plus our Axiom Bolt plus what we're going to get from our exotic armor. Yeah, 30-second supers is 1,000% possible with this build. The other option you have is Praxic Blade. Having the Praxic Blade as an option for your build really only works because the Praxic Blade hits so dang hard. The amount of super regen is based obviously on the damage that you output, being the Praxic Blade can generate its own ammo, also weaken targets, and deal huge damage. You can theoretically do that. The only, caveat to that is you won't have String of Curses. So then you're really relying on just melee attacking with the blade nonstop. You will have no distance between you and any enemies. So getting into harder content might make it a lot harder with this exotic armor of choice. That being said, if you did want to try it out, make sure you throw on Hyperblade, make sure you put on Impact Core, and make sure you put on Balance Form so you can trigger health regeneration on top of the Devour. Remember, all you have to do is get a kill to keep Devour going. So technically, whether it's the Praxic Blade or Bad Juju, it doesn't really matter. You'll still keep Devour going. So theoretically, you can still keep attacking, still chuck your grenades, and you can still get bonus super energy, which, again, we'll talk about once we get to the exotic armor. For the energy and heavy slot, it's literally whatever you want. Mod yourself for champs. I was running, overload stun, so I put on Psi Eterna, and then Unstoppable, so I had Submersion. But literally, it doesn't matter. Put on what you want. If you're not concerned about champs, just have fun. If you are concerned about champs, obviously mod accordingly, and make sure your artifact reflects that, depending on whatever you pick. Let's talk about Skull of Dire Ahamkara. This exotic armor has been around for quite a while. Obviously, it was hailed back in the day because Nova Bomb kills granted us super energy. It's gone through its share of rises and falls as far as nerfs and all those things. But it's in a pretty good state right now, in my opinion. No, I wouldn't exactly say this is a meta exotic armor, but it is certainly a fun one to mess around with if you are a fan of Void or just in general of being able to spam your super. So actual Grandeur, sorry about that, provides additional damage resistance during Nova Bomb. Good. Nova Bomb final blows and weapon final blows while you have Devour grant super energy. Both of those things are really good. So when you get bonus super energy by just getting kills with your weapons while you have Devour, plus your string of curses while you have Devour, suddenly, when I say 30 seconds, like if you're really in a busy activity and you're just mowing enemies down, maybe you just hit a hot streak and maybe you're just in the right place at the right time. There's no reason to think that you can't throw 2 supers back to back in 15 to 20 seconds. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you have that much foot traffic going on in front of you and you have string of curses at X5, so you're getting bonus damage from your weapon, and you've got Devour, so you're chucking your Axiom grenade, every couple of kills or so, and that's getting some kills on top of it, and you're getting your bonus to Ashes to Assets, which we'll talk about here in a second. Suddenly, you go from, wow, okay, so I've got weapon damage as giving me my super energy back. I get it. You're not going to get a ton of it just by firing bullets. I get that. But I got my Axiom Bolt with my Ashes to Assets on my helmet. Then I've got, my String of Curses. That's giving me something. Now I've got, actual Grandeur. Now I've got, 3 things that are adding to my super. Oh, okay. So all you have to do literally is just cycle through those 3 things and you'll have your super in no time. So yes, it does take a little bit of coordination, but it's not that hard to get a hold of. So as you try this out, you'll kind of see the draw that I have to this exotic armor. Again, would I run this in a minus 50 GM? No. But that's kind of not the point of the build. The build is more of a, hey, do you want to spam your super more? Hey, this is how you can do it. And then, take it into some harder content, but maybe not, your minus 50 where, the actual meta matters more than anything. As far as the rest of the armor goes, go ahead and spec into whatever general armor mod that you need. For the helmet, it is absolutely essential to put on Ashes to Assets. Yes, you won't get your ability regen back for just getting hits with your grenade, but you're going to be throwing in enough that Ashes to Assets is absolutely going to help you get super energy. Make sure you throw on a special ammo finder for your Psi Eterna or whatever you're running, or heavy ammo, and then put on a kinetic siphon because you will be getting rapid kills with your Bad Juju. For the arms, go ahead and put on triple firepower. For the chest armor, make sure you put on 3 elemental resistance mods. For the legs, make sure you put on at least 1 absolution, ideally 2 in my opinion, and then put on a better already to give yourself additional health regeneration. And then for the class item, put on class font, bomber, and Reaper. So after you do hit your healing writ for, that one time that you actually need some additional health on top of all the other health you're getting, you get an orb of power for free. For the artifact, go and spec into whatever weapons mods you need. Make sure that you put on Overload Pulse Rifle. That kind of goes without saying. You're using Bad Juju, you might as well be able to stun overloads with it. In the second column, again, kind of up to you. I have Impact, Shock, and Gravity because I go back and forth between the Kinetic Siphon and the dual siphons. But you'll know what works best for you based on the weapons that you pick. Go ahead and put on Expert Handling. Weapon Final Blows grant a stacking bonus to stability, which resets your on-weapon reload or stow. Put on Elemental Siphon. Rapid Final Blows with a kinetic weapon or a weapon matching your equipped super. Create an elemental pickup that matches your equipped super. So again, another way to generate void breaches. In the third column, go ahead and put on Power from Pain. Rapid Final Blows against weakened combatants grant you Devour. Important. Put on Kinetic Synthesis. Sustain kinetic weapon damage and Rapid Final Blows have a chance to generate a unique ammo brick. Collecting this brick will grant ammo to equipped kinetic damage weapons and grant special and heavy ammo progress. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you have any questions, just get at me in the comments. In the fourth column, put on Armor Smith. Breaking a combatant shield temporarily grants you damage resistance and increased melee damage. No, I'm not really relying on my pocket singularity, but it just kind of makes the most sense in this column. And then counter energy is important. When you or a member of your fire team stun a champ, you gain energy for your least charged ability. That probably won't be your grenade, so just take the free ability energy return. In the fifth column, this one's most important. Put on Kinetic Rupture and make sure you put on Void Infestation. Defeating a weakened target spawns a tracker projectile that weakens other targets. So, is it going to be as powerful as your Axiom Bolt grenade? No. But any little bit helps because, again, all your grenades weaken targets anyways, so you might as well benefit from it times 2. As far as the armor set bonus, put on your tech sec armor. If you've got it 4 pieces, you get you release a disorienting kinetic shockwave when you defeat powerful combatants or break the shield of those combatants with kinetic damage. You also deal increased kinetic damage to combatant shields, overshields, vehicles, and constructs. So win-win. Use your kinetic weapon, the Bad Juju, with your tech sec armor. You could also make an argument if you do roll with this with the Praxic Blade. I'm just going to put this out there. You can roll with 2 pieces of the Swordmaster and 2 pieces of tech, or you can run with an entire 4-piece set of the Swordmaster for that. But that's only if you're running with the Praxic Blade. Otherwise, if you're running with Bad Juju, like the build's initially intended to, put on tech sec. I'm telling you, it's better. So anyways, I've kind of gone over the reasons why this build works, so I won't continue to just beat that, dead horse. But this build was a big part of my super spam builds because I had a few of them back when I was really heavily into spamming my super. And Skull of Dire Ahamkara. Now that's featured, you get a little bit extra of damage resistance. I really wish it was featured last season back when, everything was kind of OP that was featured. Now they've kind of tailored it back a little bit. But again, the super spam still works. We've got some new weapons to pair with the super spam. We've got some changes to our grenade stat that pair well with the super spam. Of course, now we can put our abilities over 100 for a build like this. So literally it only gets better and better the more that you spec into however you want to play this. Bad Juju's been around for a long time. In case you didn't know, it does give some explosion damage every so often. It's not listed in anything, but it is part of the weapon. So if you see explosions on the screen with your Bad Juju, that is what it is. Anyways, if you guys did find anything helpful with the video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you know a guardian out there who's looking for a way to spam their super more, might be a Void Warlock lover, or maybe just someone who's looking for an interesting way to spam their super and not necessarily take on the next minus 50 GM in under 10 minutes. Go ahead and share this video with them or send them my way. My goal is to help as many people as possible. As always, I will have a dim link in the video description. And if by chance you guys are looking for a non-toxic gaming community, I highly recommend hopping in my Discord. People are super active, very talkative, willing to help others. And that's what a good gaming non-toxic community is all about. So check it out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to... I was going to say I'm going to switch over to the boss battle, but that boss battle lasted a long time, so I think I'm just going to do some more highlights and then we'll wrap it up. So if you made it to this point, did you really think that I was going to make a claim like I hit 15 supers in this battleground activity and not bring the receipts to show you? I absolutely hit those 15 supers, and I just let them fly as soon as they came, and that is exactly what I show you here in these highlights. And I felt no better way to talk about a super spam build at the end of the video than showing you spamming the super. Nova Bomb, of course, is super fun. There's a lot of different ways you can gain super energy nowadays, of course, with your enhanced grenade stat. That also helps. Obviously, Skull of Dire Ahamkara really helps when paired with String of Curses. But when I first came out with a build like this, again, we were running the Onslaught activities, not the original ones where you were doing it with the dudes from the tower, but the ones where you were actually on Europa and all of those other places. This build absolutely wrecked in, heavy wave activities. In fact, it probably still wrecks in Onslaught, to be honest with you, now that things are a little bit different and you're not doing 50 waves anymore. But super spam builds are exactly that. It's spamming your super. There's a ton of different ways to spam a ton of different supers, and this has got to be one of the easiest and most fun ways. All that is required is you chuck your grenade every so often and just kill a bunch of enemies with your bad juju. It's that simple. Spam your super, then throw your grenade, get some kills, spam your super, throw your grenade, get some kills over and over and over again, and you've got Devour constantly procced, so your health never goes away. So anyways, hopefully you guys like the build. Hopefully you like the video. Let me know in the comments. I will see you guys next time. Thanks as all for your support. Take care.